Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mike Aulby's Arrowhead Bowl here in Lafayette, Indiana for the Indiana Scratch Classic. We're now just about underway here in our round one of match play. 33 bowlers participating, and we'll drop 16 players to after two games, and that's who will advance, and then we'll throw in the three buys, the three squad leaders of the event. They'll come in round number two. Scott Gilmore, Mike Aulby, Chad Lester here in the broadcast booth this afternoon. We thank you for spending your Sunday here inside Mike Aulby's Arrowhead Bowl as we broadcast you the Indiana Scratch Classic. And, Mike, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I'll tell you, what a great crowd, great group of bowlers we got out there. This was going to be exciting today.
Well, we have quite a star-studded field here in the state of Indiana as we have Ronnie Russell, E.J. Tackett, we have Gene Perez, we have Matt Sanders all making the cut here in this event, and it should be very exciting.
Yeah, and you would expect, one of those guys, or two of the guys to be in the title match, but as we know in bowling, that doesn't necessarily always work out. Somebody seems to have them figured out, so it'll be great tournament today.
Well, we're going to work ourselves down from essentially 36 bowlers altogether. We're going to work ourselves down from 36 all the way down to 4 in our finals on lanes 5 and 6, and they'll bowl 2 games, and we'll place 1 through 4 at the end of the day. And this tournament, Mike, in your center here has always provided quite a bit of drama, and really the who's who in the state of bowling in Indiana has won this event, and good chance that we could see maybe a repeat winner once again. And Gene Perez, Matt Sanders is looking for 3 titles here in the Indiana Scratch Classic. TJ Schmidt's in the finals. He's won here before. So a lot of familiar faces we could find vying for a championship here again.
Yeah, and EJ's been around the winner's victory center there the whole time. It seems like every time he bowls, he's in contention. So, which is not a surprise by any means. But one thing about the tournament here, brand new pins from a couple weeks ago that were put in. So they've had a little bit of play on them and have loosened them up a little bit. But you hit what you get. It's they're not they fly, but they're flat bottom, so there aren't going to be any cheap ones.
Well, and any time you put a little bit of a tougher scoring condition out there, that will, like you're saying, those little iffy hits that you might have carried before, maybe not so this time. So it'll be interesting to see scoring pace from top to bottom. The top end of the squads were up.
Very impressive, yeah.
But the bottom half of the squads were about where they used to be. So, again, it's interesting. And Chad and I were talking about, too, as you look at the squad leaders and the guys that had bowled the best, cream always seems to rise to the top. We use that quite a bit, but Ronnie Russell was a squad leader. Luke Mathis, a talented player out of Indianapolis, was a squad leader. And so, again, those guys that typically bowl well, you find themselves at the top.
Yep.
Yeah, and other players, too. Zach Tackett's right there. Zach Weidman.
Yeah, you forget about and those guys should be listed with the group that we mentioned earlier. So, yeah, it's quite an exciting group today.
Yeah, and we have we're going to show you here about 4 lanes. You'll see a little bit more than that. You'll actually see about 6. So we got some talented players here. Vu Duong is bowling on 19 and 20, a very interesting style that he has. But he has had a lot of success bowling in some of the events in Las Vegas, and Vu, always a wonderful person to talk to as well.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
And he is the one that we laugh, and he'll even laugh about it too as well. He doesn't even look at a lane graph because it really doesn't matter. He's going right down the middle.
Look at his shirt. Yeah, just see what his shirt said. So, oil pattern, what's that, or something like that. So, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't affect him hardly at all compared to anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Gene Perez here, it looks like on 21 and 22. So, you're going to get a good look at a former winner here in both not only the Scratch Classic but the State Masters.
And he's been bowling well just around the country and the state. He's been bowling very well.
Off to your far right, you'll see Chris Curry not too far, but we have a lot of talented players. We'll go through here everybody that is bowling. Bailey Maverick is a name to keep an eye on, a two-hander, very young, talented player. Just won a regional, his first regional not too long ago in a doubles event with Mikey Schlaball. Other names to kind of keep an eye on, Ryan Sidney, Jeff Grego, who was in the Final Four last year, Kevin McCune, who's won the State Masters. He's in here.
Yeah, there's another one.
Yeah. Zach Weidman, Zach Tackett, Brent Boho, a talented two-hander that bowls a lot of the regional tours. So a lot of really good players, so it should lead up to what we think might be a great day of bowling.
Yeah, I mean it's set up for that especially, and what a great field like you talked about, and Kevin McCune won a PBA regional I believe very recently ago, or a PBA tournament, and along with Grandpa and Eugene, and now three-time family winners, so it's a rarity, and it may be the first time.
You see Zach Weidman off to the right, and we're going to try to do the best we can. They're all the way down on the high end of the house. They'll work their way left after the first round of match play, and we'll be more in the middle. We'll have a few more cameras on for the players. You see Vu go right through the middle and just snowplow everything, and it's hard and straight for Vu.
That might be the flush. That might be a flush hit. That was just squashed him perfectly.
Well, as you're probably familiar with, a lot of those guys, especially in the Middle East or whatever, or Korea and Taiwan, throwing that helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopters, yeah.
And similar style to that.
But I remember, I thought it would be more of a, depending on the scoring pace pattern, to how much he could keep up. But we've seen him score well in some of the higher ones even. So, I think the one time he might have lost 240 to 230. So it's not like he cannot shoot a great game or a high score.
Yeah, and we always felt like, too, if you talk to players, they want to get this game right here because they've had 10 minutes of practice on it, because then they're going to be moving 4 or 5 pairs one direction, and you don't know what the player in front of you or the players in front of you had worked or played those lanes. So you always felt like you had to get them in this first game.
So you can make up for something that might happen on that second pair where you really don't know what's happening. So it can be a quick out if you're not careful.
Well, Gene looking to double up here as we look at the scoring here on 21 and 22. We're directly behind lanes 4 and 5, so we're a pretty good ways away from where the players are bowling in this match play round. One thing that Vu can't get away with is being left or right of target, because one, the ball is not going to hook at all. So he's got to be pretty accurate.
He throws a lot of pins.
Down.
The pins. He throws a lot of pins around. That's for sure.
Here's our participants. Thanks, Jeff. Always helps us out here. Jeff Circle does a fantastic job for the tournament director for the state. Also, want to thank the state board for allowing us to broadcast this event once again for you. Oh, and Vu misses the 5-pin. That's in league play, that'd cost you a round, wouldn't it?
I think it would.
I think everybody'd have their hand up behind them, right?
Yeah, they'd be in line for that. Yeah. Boy, he gets a lot of speed on it, though. Wow.
I was told that he either throws a 12 or 13-pound ball.
Well, that would help with the ball speed. Maybe I should do that.
Gene covers the 6-10 there.
Yeah, kind of a little over adjustment. He left kind of a late 7-pin the first time on that lane.
I'm sure guys that are looking up and down the squad to see who make it, they're putting a little asterisk beside Gene Perez's name. They know he's going to be a guy that's going to be there at the end, or has a pretty good chance. If the urethane holds up, Gene is going to be a threat. So on 19 and 20, we have Vu Duong, Rodney English, Matt Phillips, and on 21 and 22, you have Brandon Coombs, Gene Perez, Brian Taylor. 23 and 4, you have Zach Weidman, Matthew Wilhite, and Chris Curry. Those are the players you're going to be able to see the most of. Other pairs that you have Bailey Maverick on 25 and 26, Kevin McCune and Jeff Grego on 27 and 28. Then all the way down on 35 and 6 is TJ Schmidt and Zach Tackett. And let's see here. Matt Sanders down on 39 with EJ Tackett and Brent Boho. Boy, there is a star-studded pair for you, Mike. Matt Sanders, EJ Tackett, and Brent Boho.
Wow.
All three very talented players.
Fun fact here, Duong. Duong. I said his name wrong. 10-pound ball. That's what he throws.
Oh, gosh.
10-pound ball.
Yeah, Chris Nunn just told us that in the chat.
Wow.
No joke, he says.
Well,
10-pound ball.
You shouldn't have to worry about leaving a 7 or the 10 because the ball's got to deflect that far. He's amazing. I think it
must be why they snowplow right through the head pin.
That's the spot. Yeah, that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, he's obviously relying on deflection.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
absolutely.
sideboards. And the sideboards.
Well, you know, I picked a bad time to get something to eat from you, Mike, and I should have done this while we had all this downtime, but I got I got caught up in a
He
chat.
said it's not me, so
yeah, I got caught into having conversations with a multitude of people, and
well, you better let it cool down. You don't need to burn anything. Your taste buds off. So
I got a big water here right next to me. This is right here is Matt Phillips, and a little background.
He's had a good look. I mean,
yeah.
He's had a good look out there.
Started with the front three. Matt Phillips had a health scare I think now it's been a couple years ago, but he had brain surgery.
Oh.
And, it's great to see him back out competing, and obviously right now competing at a high level. And,
yeah, he's throwing it really well this morning. He had that look where it just seemed like the ball laid off a little bit in the back. That boy just recoiled back in and high flush. He looks pretty good this morning so far throwing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and anytime the goal here in this tournament is to keep the ball around the head pin. You don't want to be shooting at 4-count leaves.
Right.
Your day's going to be short.
Yeah, no. There's enough people that are lined up. You're not going to get away with those too many times.
And now Gene here working on a strike, looking for his first double of the game.
That was a good one there.
High flush.
Big shot. We see a lot of those out of Gene.
Yeah, you do too in your center. He likes bowling here.
Well, I'll tell you, on Facebook, I mean, he comes across. I think he shoots a 300, or he's supposed to be averaging 1.5 300s a week. I think he's up to 130 some. I think that's what it's crazy. Yeah, and somebody always shoots video of him, so I've seen that shot a lot.
Yeah, it's a staggering number of 300s. When you look at it, it's not like my 23rd. It's like 85 or 90.
Yeah, he's in the 130s, I think is what it is.
Yeah, and maybe that's 800s.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. and let's face it, you're bound to not carry one here and there. He shoots them all the time. I mean,
yeah, unbelievable. That's Rodney English
I used
there
to
on
get
19.
nervous when I shot him. I don't know. You get 130. I'm not sure if it's just, it's another fill ball.
Yeah, I'm lucky to get one every 2 or 3 seasons. And he's usually getting one every other week.
Yeah, as I said, I think he's averaging 1.5 a week or something like that.
Of course, Gene bowls a lot. I mean,
yes,
he bowls
does.
every day.
I always see his
basically.
messages out there. Anything to bowl this weekend. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he bowls a bunch.
Yeah, he takes advantage of the situations and just loves to bowl. Pretty shot. Wow. That ball just did everything it needed to do. And just
Matt's always had a great physical game. Nice release. A lot of roll.
Yeah, it is. You talk about just revving up out of his hand, but it doesn't seem to break loose. That's the key. When you start a ball that soon and, you got that many revolutions, to get a nice even arc is hard to do. I mean, you got to have that perfect release to get that ball to lay off, but not overflip on the back.
There's one of those where, when you mentioned the flat bottom, you might see a lot of corner pins. Yeah. And there's one of them there on lane 21. And I think that's Brandon Coombs. I'm not 100% sure. Gene on the right lane.
Oh, wow. There's some power.
There's a messenger. And actually, that is Brian Taylor on the left lane here that just left the 10 pin. And he's going for the conversion. He needs it here. He's, ooh, misses it. He opened in the previous frame.
Nice spare.
So we'll be able to give you an idea here for our pairs, but the other ones we're going to have a hard time figuring out who's doing what. But that's the beauty of having Jeff Circle. You always get updated scoring very quickly, and he'll keep us up in the loop on to what is going on. Here's Brandon Coombs here on the left lane, 21. Comes in high, leaving just the 3-pin, fortunately.
A little quick with the feet and just didn't quite get that ball projected out there and straight in front of him.
Vu with the 5-pin cover this time, and Brandon had a good start, front 4, spare, then a strike in the 6th. Now Matt Phillips here on the right lane on lane 20.
Good shot. Nice and smooth.
Man, he's kicking himself for missing the 10-pin the frame
still,
before.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
terrible
4-9.
break.
Just a little sharp 4-9, but boy, that ball's still setting up and doing the right thing.
I saw a lot of, 4-9, 6-8s, and some of them would, break up. But is that kind of not only the ball finishing hard, but is that a product of the pins?
Stiff, yeah. They're just new, and the bottoms are flatter. The bellies are not, broken down. So yeah, you're gonna get those. They're just staunch. They stand there a little bit harder and
got a chance.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow, that was a pretty good attempt there.
So what's been going on with Mr. Aulby here in the last few months?
Wow. We just been kind of plugging away here and doing day-to-day stuff and keeping busy. We're just the season's off and running, and so far so good. I mean, bowling's been good. Ice rink business. I mean, people are wanting to get out and do things, and been very fortunate with that. And we had the senior masters here at Hindle Lanes not too long ago, and that was a lot of fun and great bowling there. I mean, just tremendous bowling. So it's good to get back into kind of the bowling season again.
Well, when you looked at the weather this morning, it looked every bit of the bowling season, didn't it?
Yeah, when I see a little snowflake by the temperature, I'm thinking, flurries. Yeah, it was anything but that.
Yeah, it was snowing very hard there for a while. Of course, you said you were in the Carmel area. You said it was snowing much harder.
Yeah, roads where there was several accidents, and that's why I just kind of took my time. Thought I don't need to make this day, a bad day. So, but I know I talked to some of the other guys too. It seemed like more the north I came this way, the warmer it got. So by the time I got really close, he just got a bad.
That was a
Gene got a bad break there. Yeah,
offset the.
He had a pin roller. He had a pin roll.
Excuse me.
Yeah. The pin rolled around and kind of moved it out of the way, and then he textbooked it a perfect shot, and the pins aren't in spot anymore because they got moved around.
Yeah, the 4-pin was a little
bad
offset.
break. Yeah, that's a tough one. Even though they're new, I mean, they can obviously still throw them around pretty good down there. It looks, especially the guys we got in sight here are just, they're throwing some stuff around pretty good.
Ooh, Zach Whiteman off to your right there on 23 just missed a 10-pin. And those are the spares that you have to convert on this pattern.
Yeah, you're just giving away too many pins to the guys around you. But new father, a new dad this year.
Yeah, he's very excited and happy for Addie and him. Nothing better than becoming parents for the first time.
No, yeah, it's been a great year on the lanes and off lanes for both of them. It's very nice.
And you got to wonder too, we talked a little bit about, priorities in life, and he's kind of an aspiring pro as wanting to bowl on tour, and you have your first child. It kind of changes sometimes the way you think, and it'll be interesting to see how he handles that moving forward. But there's a lot of talent right there with Zach Weidman.
Yeah, and he's very young, so he should be able to adapt to all that. But yeah, it definitely changes things as you can continue to. And look at Gene Perez again. He trips the 8 into the 6, and it gets a wiggle, but moves it over probably an inch or two. But once again, that is just the pins are stiff.
Well, and
they've been in for a couple weeks, so they've had a little bit of if you just put them out of the box and put them in, it's really tough.
That's where the the league bowlers get the treat of.
They got to break them in a bit, yeah.
Oh, Vu missed another 5-pin. That one in the 10th. That one's. Nope, that's the 9th, but he's only got 140 in the 9th. He's in big trouble. Flat 10 there for Matt Phillips.
And, that ball had a lot of power on it, a lot of revs right out of his hand, and, it just hits the pocket, and it's just a little late, and those pins aren't going to give it up. That 6 is not going to take it out for you.
Well, they're going to have to re-spot the 6-pin for Gene.
Yeah, he got moved out of spot there when that 8-pin went into it, which I don't think you ever count on that 8 taking the 6.
And Rodney English coming in high. He was looking for his first double of the game there, and instead he's going to be shooting at the 6, 9, 10. Oh, there's a break for you for Brandon. That's a nice double. And some pairs already done with game number 1, and they're venturing to their next pair. I always wanted to have a nice pace of play to where the next time when I went to my next pair, everybody was done. We can drop our stuff off and you just start.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Never wanted to have a 5 or 10 minute wait or.
Yeah, your hand changes. Everything changes when you're not ready to do that. So.
Well, and now Vu in major trouble now with the 3-10 baby split here. Ooh, Gene. Cutting that one pretty close. Well, you know one thing. It's going to be hard and straight from Vu.
And it's definitely going to deflect a little. That might have had even more speed than I think he's thrown the other ones with. Man.
Might have had a little bit of frustration built into it as well. Well, only 3 on a pair. These 2 games are going to go by very quickly.
And it's easy to not, a break like that, you miss a corner, you leave a split. I mean, it's very difficult sometimes to just take that deep breath and move on. But, I always try to remember just once it's out of your hand, it's history. You can't change it. Work on the next one. And that didn't always work.
Yeah. And you can see Vu, his bread and butter is if he hits that pocket and that head pin comes back off the wall and takes out the 5, you can tell that's where he makes his living at.
Yeah. He's got pins thrown around there. They're just not hitting it. They're going behind it or whatever. They're not taking that 5 out. That was like, what, 3rd or 4th one.
High flush for Gene. Gene can shoot 225, it looks like. It'd be a solid start. Good start here potentially for Brandon Coombs. He's looking at possibly 258. Ooh, Rodney English with big 4 in the 10th.
Yeah, just got that ball down a little short.
The worst time for that.
Oh, that was a good shot.
Get a huge break in the 9th and then throw one great and leave a wrapped in.
Oh, wow. Look, he covered up that 4-7. I couldn't see it. It looked like it had potential.
It had a chance to at least get the 7-pin, and then at that point you never know. That's what I always, people ask me what's the difference between a really good league bowler and someone on the PBA tour. And you get into bowling in a tournament when the really good league player bowls in a tournament and the PBA player does. Just watch the 10th frame. Those guys can figure out a way to double in the 10th more often than not.
Or save a game or whatever.
Yeah, and the league player, does what Rodney English just did, big 4, and they get a little tight. They know how big the frame is. You're trying to finish a game out. And that's the big difference, I think, a lot of times. The PBA guy gets up there, and he fills, 20-plus pins in a 10th frame. Good start for Matt there, 213. Threw the ball a lot better than that, it looked like to me.
Nice spare there.
Of course, he left the 4-9 there in the 7th.
There's some ball speed down there today.
Good start, 237 for Brandon Coombs. And they're going to venture all the way down in the 30s. I think he's using all the way down to 37 and 38. It looks like maybe 39, 40. Great turnout this weekend. Largest field they've had for this event. That's always a great sign. And oof. Always can deal with that better in the fill. Oh my goodness. Solid 8-pin.
Well, that certainly wasn't for lack of effort. That was a heck of a shot.
And what could have been in this game? You know, Gene gets a terrible break there in the 6th with how the 2-4-7 was set back down. Little gap there, and he chopped it straight back and almost left the 6-8, just left the 6, and then leaves the 8 here in the 10th. And now he's looking at a little 2-0 game, and he knows he's going to have to bowl a lot better. Well, he doesn't really. He needs to score better, right?
Yeah,
he can't bowl much better than what he just did right there. There's Zach Tackett with the almost 4-9, trips out the 4 late. They're off on lane 23. 213, the tall game for Matt Phillips on 19 and 20. Brandon Coombs with 237, and naturally that one falls. 204, I believe, or 205 for Gene Perez. 205. Usually in this round, it took about, on average, about 15 or 16 over. So it'll be interesting to see what
like you
happens
mentioned earlier, this next game is the important one because you're going to find out how quickly you can adjust, and hopefully it's similar to where you just came off of, but, you know.
Well, I can tell you right now who's coming. Ryan Slosser there on lane 19. Mike Svilar from Northwest Indiana. He's always got an interesting pair of pants, and he has not disappointed in that realm for this weekend. Looks like Ryan Mooney might be bowling, the head coach of the Purdue men's bowling team. Looks like he's going to bowl on 21-22.
There's what you don't want. Both guys kind of starting with either over adjustments or just, even if trying to play the same for the last one, that's what can happen when you don't really know what's going on when you come down there, because to see how people have played them or how they've changed.
You know, in your playing days, when you went to the next pair, were you just hoping to keep something, at least fill a frame in the first frame and give yourself a good look on what, or did you have somebody, hey, Mike, this is where I think you need to play at, or did you have those luxuries?
Well, most of the time in my career it was illegal for you to really get information even though it happened. You followed people you knew, or, somebody would give you that information. For me, I didn't want to ask. I would pretty much, unless I knew something from practice or anything that knew that there was a different condition from one end to the other, I would always play them the same as I did the last pair where I was lined up. So that way when I threw the shot, and it was so important to throw the ball physically good the first frame, because last thing you need to know is, wow, all of a sudden you go high or light. Okay, was it me or was it the lane? So you're trying to cut down your options of what happened if it didn't go where you wanted it to. So I'd always try to play them the same just so I would knew which way to move. So, and you basically have two first frames because, even though the first frame's on one lane, you still got to go to the next lane, which you still don't know about either. You assume, but you don't want to fake yourself out.
Well, and so many times too, it puts you behind the 8 ball mentally, because now you feel like, oh, I gotta, make up for that opening frame, right?
Yeah. Well, and we see, look at all these. Look at these starts. Great fair shot there. But we're seeing a lot of missed ahead pins, 210s, washouts. It's just, it's challenging. Obviously, we've seen that the move so far. Let's see where this one goes. Now, that was a great shot. Was that because he played him the same and his ball's reacting the same, or did he see what happened in front of him and made the move? So that was a great shot, though. Yeah, and he got to be thinking that, you just picked up 20 pins on your opponents on the same pair that you're on. And that was, let's see, we're going to find out who we got here. That was Billy Hibbard that started out with the front two. We got Scotty Kramer and Ryan Sidney and Ryan Mooney on
21 and 22. Ryan Sidney, a very talented left-hander from Southern Indiana. He picks up his spare, and really a big spare conversion there for Ryan Schlosser on the 5-count washout, because you don't want to start open.
No, that's a huge spare.
And Scotty Kramer, he doesn't miss it at the bottom very much.
I was just thinking the same thing, yeah. Good ball speed and a lot of revolutions. And a powerful shot.
Now Ryan Mooney here on lane 22. He's having a little bit of footing issue, looks like. Sometimes it's not so much the approach, but you just kind of get out of whack right away, right? The first step's out. And
yeah, I mean, timing can be everything because, as you know, your heel catches or whatever, it could be anything. That's direct. Oh, held pocket.
Yeah. Ryan Sidney puts plenty on the ball, too, as well. Now Billy Hibbert with the front two, looking to make it 3. Oh, yeah.
Beautiful shot. Yeah, 2 great shots.
That's always love starting with the first 3 or 4. And then the arm swing relaxes just a little bit, especially if you bowled good the first game.
Yeah.
Then you're feeling really confident,
now,
right?
I've got an opportunity here, yeah. Oh.
Open frame for Ryan. He goes back-to-back opens. Now a big shot here for Ryan Schlosser on lane 20. A lot of Ryans here on 19 through 22. And that goes high. Oof. And he left a tough one.
Yeah, you're going to be right on that to get that 9-pin.
And Mike Spilar, he's wanting to start over.
Yeah, he's going to need to just reset, take a deep breath, and kind of just think about a second, reload, and start from scratch.
And that's the problem with only 3 on a pair. You feel like you're up every 2 seconds.
It becomes overwhelming if it goes too. It's just like they're flying right at you.
That didn't sound good. And
little high, and chopped it through. But you got to hit high on that on the 3-pin to get the drive to get that 9.
Of course, they would say on the PBA Tour that's probably the toughest spare you face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
big
trip
break.
4.
Big break. Seems like the only one having trouble with the foul light right there.
Yeah, Billy Hibbert off to a strong start there with the front 4.
Yeah, that ball's doing everything it needs to do when it needs to do it.
Good to see Ronnie Russell bowling well. He'd been struggling there for a while, and he led this second squad yesterday, and really seems like Ronnie's game's starting to come back into shape.
He looks good. I mean, always gets a handful, and ball's just so powerful and strong, and does great. I think EJ was giving him a little trouble earlier, giving him a hard time about his age, but said they were using him for the over, so he'll be 42 next month, he said.
Well, we know one thing: Mother Nature, Father Time always wins. Mother Nature wins out there.
Yeah.
But Ronnie also an avid golfer. He likes to swing the sticks too as well, and he's pretty darn good at it.
Oh. Kind of lost that one at the bottom. Got a handful, but just got a little bit in the wrong part of the lane. Wow, gorgeous shots.
He's got everything in control right there.
And the guys on that pair are going, what is going on here?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, because his ball is just doing everything it needs to do when it needs to do it. He's throwing it so smooth and solid 9 on 22 after tripping that 4 on 21. He throws his ball as hard as Vu did, and his is not 10-pounder, I don't think.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of rotation on it too as well.
Nice shot.
Ryan with the double there. Now another look at Ryan Sidney coming off an open frame in the 3rd. That's got a hook.
Yeah, he didn't get out of that very cleanly, it didn't look like. Bottom of the swing maybe hung a bit.
And Mike Spilar, he's having one of those games where nothing goes right, and Ryan Mooney just missed the 9-pin. And I'm gonna sneak in some bites here. I better. My stuff's gonna get cold here. I hate to eat, while
Well, we have the air conditioning on to keep it cool in here. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I need to get one of those sweaters on, quarter zip. I don't feel too bad. It's nice in here, I think, right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good, yeah.
Feel just right.
Great shot. 6 slapping that 10 out. Front 6, is it? Yeah, front 6. Great shots. 19.
And every one of them's been high flush.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the ball just gorgeous going down there. The revolutions and just breaking at the right part of the lane that you wanted to break in. Yeah. But it only does that because you're smooth at the bottom of your swing, and he's throwing it really well.
Well,
but, he's the only one that's not had trouble in making the move from, the last pair they were on.
Yeah, and you look at Scotty Kramer there on lane 22. He goes washout split, and then he goes bucket.
And we saw Gene, who was just, bringing him back from, he was just hitting the pocket great.
Well, that's going to probably have a little bit of an effect on Scotty Kramer. Gene throwing that urethane for, 10 minutes prior to
giving him the wiggle, the wiggle down the lane.
Probably what he's seeing right now. Good cover. Well, Billy Hibbert's about to set a scoring record, it looks. I don't know what the scoring record is for 2 games here in this tournament, but Billy Hibbert shot 279 game 1. He's got front 6 here in game 2. He'd probably like to see pins carry over.
And he probably obviously didn't see much of a change from pair to pair for him. That's what's so interesting about this game we all love. It's just some things just don't seem to make sense.
Yeah, and I'll have to.
Oh, a little high on the 4. And a 4-pin.
And he only shot 866 for his 4-game qualifying, so it's not like he shot a ton, but oh, wow. Zach Weidman with 118. That is a.
I think we could sit here.
Yeah, I would
for
not
many
have
years and never would have guessed that.
Yeah. But you look at the scoring, you got Gene Perez way down in 17th at 205. Yeah. Remember, they're going to drop 16 scores. So TJ Schmidt is the cut at +7 after game number 1. Zach Tackett is out. Ryan Sidney is out. Jeff Grego is out. Zach Weidman is out. So.
Yeah, Zach's going to need a big one here just to get back in an opportunity to move on.
His back is up against the wall right now. And I'm going to see if I can find my scoring here from yesterday. But it looked like Ben Caldwell made the cut, but he withdrew due to an injury, so we don't know what happened there. I don't think he was here at all this morning. But there's a lot of big scores. Billy Hibbert, 279. Matthew Wilhite, 244. Bailey Maverick, 243. Daryl Gilbert, 239. Brandon Coombs, 237. Mike Svilar, he had 237 after game 1.
Oh, my.
And he is just struggling mightily this game. E.J. Tackett, 226. Ryan Burton, 225. Kevin McCune, 223. And Matt Phillips, Matt Sanders at 213 is your top 10 scores. So
they're packed in there too. It's really close. So some of these spares we've seen missed. I mean, they're gonna come into play. Even pin count at this point. Now I wouldn't expect a 2-8-10. So the ball either he missed it a little bit or missed the target a little bit. The ball just broke way too late. Gorgeous shot there.
Yeah, Scotty Kramer down there in 21st at 192. Ryan Schlosser is at 195 his first game. Ryan Sidney, 189. These are all guys on our pair. Ryan Mooney, 182. So some guys struggled a little bit. Boy, and you got to feel for Mike Svilar, who he's probably thinking, all right, anything around 190, and he's got a great chance. And before you know it, he's going to probably shoot about a 120 game.
And we got to assume that the other pairs we're not seeing are having the same difficulties from making a move. We'd assume that they're all having somewhat of difficulty making that move when they get to the next pair.
And I wouldn't think 19 and 20 would be a lot different than where those guys came from. I mean, they bowled on 31 and 32. I can't imagine there's a ton of difference between
not for what
that
we're
end
seeing.
of the house,
yeah,
right?
Not for what we're seeing, but
you know, you get 10 minutes of warm up, and you can.
that's a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get very comfortable on your
Yeah.
starting pair, and that, as I told you, that's where you had to get it. But unfortunately for like Mike, who's on pace to shoot a 130 game, you can't make up for that.
Yeah, Billy Hibbert. I mean, I think he's last two shots have been a little bit out and won the end. So it looks like he was very comfortable to start with, and all of a sudden you see the ball wiggle a little bit in a 2-8-10. That'll make you rethink what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you take one high. So it's got to just settle back down and reload, get yourself back into what you were doing.
Big double there for Scotty Kramer. And 123 for Mike Svilar. That's a painful game. You got to feel for him after starting out with 237.
He was out there busting it every time. I mean, he was trying to make the moves to figure it out, and it just wasn't happening on that pair. And once you start out struggling, I mean, it makes it hard to get it back.
Ryan Mooney now with the three-bagger. Well, he's got to strike. He's got
3 opens.
Yeah, he's forced to basically go off the sheet, and I still don't know if that's going to be enough. A lot depends on what everybody else does, too, as well. Ryan Schlosser's day is probably going to come to an end. All of a sudden, the last 4 or 5 shots have not gone the way Billy Hibbert would have liked.
No, he looked like he was unstoppable.
Big shot here for Scotty Kramer on lane 22. He's got a double, but he's sitting at -8, and he is currently about 15, 16 pins off the number right now. Oh!
It's hard to believe that ball just had to be a little late, but because that ball definitely had plenty of power. Good shot.
You know, Chris Curry, I believe, was on the same pair as Zach Weidman. Let's see, 23, 24, yes. And Chris Curry shot 200 on that pair. And Matthew Wilhite shot 244 on that pair. So
wow, somebody had it. Yeah, they figured it out.
I don't know. Interesting. I'm curious to find out from Zach, with two guys bowling pretty well, what happened there. Now Scotty Kramer with the spare conversion.
And Ryan Mooney crossed over for 4 in a row.
Well, Scotty can shoot 212. That would put him at +4.
Which we already know somebody's fallen out of that number, so you figure there's going to be a little bit of transfer in that bottom part.
Yeah. Ryan Sidney
Didn't
can't
quite
get
make it
anything
around the
going.
corner, yeah.
That's what happened to me game 4. You move a little left, you couldn't get the ball to finish. You move a little, or you move left, the ball went through the face. You moved a little right, and the ball wouldn't finish. And
yeah, Aaron McCormick said he had a couple of lanes like that where you could strike every time on the left lane, this right lane, and could not find it on that lane, and cost him a decent game and cost him making the cut.
Yeah, and qualifying, he finished with a 250 game and still missed.
Yeah, 252. Yeah, he's been working hard and working his way back. He's knocking on the door. One of the good guys out here. That's direct.
Yeah. That's trouble for him.
It's got to be hard with the power he puts at the bottom of the swing. It is a timing very difficult to be timed that way because boy, it'd be so easy to get around it. Just like that shot, just got a little bit around it too early, and it's right inside your target, and then it's not going to hold up.
Especially when you're probably in league play, he's able to
do that all day,
able to
right?
swing that out to the dry.
Yeah.
Now playing a little more direct, he's got to be very good at the bottom and directionally as well.
Big shot for Ryan Mooney.
There's a 5-bagger.
I'm already getting a shoulder problem just watching that.
Oh, to be young. I don't know what would happen if I tried to do that. It wouldn't be pretty.
I would have 911 on my phone ready to dial.
You got that life alert around your neck?
Chad would be going for the AED there, and we'll get that taken care of.
Oh. We're going to take a, once this squad concludes, we'll take a little break. We'll come back on the air for the next round. We'll tell you who has advanced.
Oh, wow, what a carry. Did you see that? It's like a 5 almost got to the 7, and then something hit the, must have been the 6 hit the 10.
He's going to finish with the back 7 potentially, and still not sure if that's going to be enough because he had, wasn't it like 3 out of the first 4 opens?
Yeah, but he's at least he's giving himself a chance. I mean, he's made some pretty good shots here. Got a break, but you know the Brooklyn in the 9th, I think. But you know,
but he's still got a chance.
you take what they give you.
I mean, if he can shoot, it looks like he'll be in the 220s. That would get him to plus. You never know. Good. Ooh.
Oh, you hope those 3 don't matter.
Yeah, backs or 6 out of 7 for 213.
Yeah.
That's not going to be enough.
That's a save. Yeah, that's a save.
He's -5. But
Great
you know,
shot.
you never know what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
stranger things can happen.
If this is any indication, I mean, we saw 120 and a 160, and you know, 190 and a one looks like 70 or 80. So, I mean, we know there's pitfalls out there. So, if the wrong people got them, this could really, the whole board could almost flip flop.
We'll stick around here for.
Was Billy Hibbert quick little 512 maybe something like that?
Yeah, finished with 233.
Yeah, a little 512.
I'd take.
I don't can't
every
think of too many
round.
times I wouldn't take 512.
Yeah,
after 2.
every round with that number, and I like his chances today.
Yeah.
All right, that concludes our bowling here on the pairs on the live stream. We'll come back here in a few minutes. We'll have tallies for the round of 33. This is the first round of match play here at the Indiana Scratch Classic from Mike Aulby's Arrowhead Bowl in Lafayette, Indiana. You're watching